Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to see everybody. I believe we have a Mazel Tov to do, right? We had a Mazel Tov to the Apachinsky family on the birth of a grandson. A grandson. So what's the baby's name? Shmuel El Yakim, Kashem Shenichnas Bris, Kain Yekanas L'Torah L'Chupel L'Maisim Tovim, with good health, Im Yirtzeh Hashem by the Chasana. Also, I don't believe that I had the privilege to welcome yet Reb Rosenberg to the Kehillah. Right? I never welcome you from the pulpit. So you should know when he comes in, you should smear a little glue on the seat because he needs a little convincing to come in more often. So if you put a little glue on his seat once in a while, he'll stay more often. We very enjoy having Streimlich in the shul. So far we have 3. We need more. So, right, when you hit 10, maybe I have to consider putting it on myself. So, I want to tell you something. My father's Rav was Rav Singer from the Swedish Shul. What a lot of people don't know is that when Rav Singer went to Bluzhev, he wore a shtreimel. He never wore a shtreimel otherwise, and most people have never seen him in a shtreimel. But when he went to Bluzhev, he wore a shtreimel. So, I could make accommodations, My father learned by the Chakal Yitzchak, so it's not... my father learned by the Chakal Yitzchak. His brother was mechutin to the Shefa Chaim, so, it's not out of the realm of possibility, So, anyway, now what else? What else? The reason why I'm recording now is because tonight we're doing another chak. We did one last night, and we're doing one tonight. It's the smaller one. It's the Friday chak, but it's with 12 delicious mishnayos in Masechtas Para. When do you get a chance to learn Masechtas Para? It's going to be 12 mishnayos in Masechtas Para. That's going to be right after the Daf Yomi. It's a little bit past your bedtime, though. A little bit past. Anything past 7 o'clock is past his bedtime. When you get up 4 in the morning, so earlier. He gets up when I go to sleep. Anyway. Okay, so we learn Leila Nishmas Avram Dov ben David, the Schutz Avram ben Yom Benish ben Malchudis and family of the Fushalem for Yomis ben Chaisar, by the Fisher family, Lishmas Basri Bas Rabbat Shalom ben Avram Alevi, Perel Bas Ruvain, for Yod Klugman and family, for my Shver Vigdaya ben Rivka, Meir ben Chaisar, and the Chamasara Bas Miriam, Leila Nishmas,
Asher Eliezer ben Moshe.
Asher Eliezer ben Moshe. So Mishnah Hey and Mishnah Vav in the 11th parak. This is a very interesting Mishnah. What happened is the head of the household gave birth in the same day as Hoshivka gave birth, and there was a blackout in the hospital, and the babies got mixed up. So now we don't know which one is a kohen miyuchas and which one is an eved. So, they both could eat truma because one is a kohen and one is kinyan kaspai. So they both could eat truma. However, when they can't get at the geirin unless they go together, because we know we're malin from the geirin the yichas, so therefore they could only go when they go together. So they'll know, one of them is questionable. Since one of them is a kohen, so neither of them could contaminate to the dead, because a kohen can become tummy to the dead. They can't marry women, because of course the one that's a kohen can't marry an eved, and the one that's a shivcha can't marry Yisrael, so they can't get married. Higdilu ataruvos, when the two of them grow up, so one of them is the master, and one of them is the eved. So they free each other. V'shichru zeh zeh, and they free each other. So now they could marry women that are fit for kahuna, because one of them is kain. Noisim nashim ruyas l'kahuna. Still, both of them ain't a mitam l'mesim, because one of them is a kain, so they both can't be mitam l'mesim. V'im nitmu, if they do become tameh, even b'mezid, einon seif k'nes abam. We don't give them malchus, because you don't give malchus misafik. We don't know if he's a kain or not. V'einon oichlem b'truma, they can't eat truma, because one of them is just a freed slave who's a Yisrael. They can't eat truma, so they both can't eat truma. However, v'im ochlu, if they do eat truma, normally you eat truma, you have to pay keren v'chaimish, but here, einam mashal keren v'chaimish, because each one could say, I'm a kohen. The einon cholken ala goyin, they can't get a portion, because you don't give a portion to somebody who can't eat it, right? So they can't eat it, so they don't get a portion. U'moichrin es truma, but the truma from their own crops, nobody could take for them, because they could say, look, I'm a kohen, and you can't prove that I'm not a kohen, I'm a raya. He can't eat it, but he could sell it. He could sell it to kahanim, v'adam shalem, and he keeps the money. Of course, he doesn't get a portion of the kachei mikdash. He doesn't get the oiros, the hides, because he might not be a kohen. And of course, as the Rav learns, this means that they can't be makriv kachim, they can't be makriv kabbalas, because each one might not be a kohen. This is talking about a specific case. If they have a firstborn, we don't take the firstborn away from them. Of course, they can't do it b'char, because b'char can only be brought by a kohen. So what we do is, as we're going to see, we're going to leave it out to pasture until he gets a mum, and then he could eat it, because even a Yisrael could eat it once he gets a mum. They don't have to give the portion of the right foreleg and the cheek and the maw, because each one could say, you look, I'm a kohen. His bechar has to be left out to pasture until he gets a mum. Finally, we give him the chumrei kahanim and chumrei Yisrael. This refers specifically if he brings a mincha. Now, if he brings a mincha, so if he's a Yisrael, we have to take a kmitza, burn the kmitza on the mizbech, and the shirayim are eaten by the kahanim. If he's a kohen, there's a special din that a minchas kahanim is kula kala, is entirely burnt. So now what do we do when he brings a mincha? He might be a kohen, he might be Yisrael. So we give both chumras. We take the kmitza, because he might be Yisrael, smoke up the kmitza, and then we smoke up the shirayim also, because he might be a kohen. Now, the question is, this is a menachas question, but the question is, how could we smoke up the shirayim? There's a halacha, kol shemimenu leishim, whatever is already confined to the fires, harihu babal taktiru. The rest you're not allowed to smoke up. So the Gemara says that they smoke it up, the rest, l'shem eitzim, as fuel, and not as an offering. Now, that was Mishna. That was the first Mishna. Now comes the next Mishna. So the next Mishnah talks about, there's a din of hafchana, which means that if a woman, her husband divorces her or dies, she has to wait 3 months till she could marry again. And this is in order to make sure that she's not pregnant posthumously from the first husband. So we wait until she's showing, and then when she sees she's not pregnant, she could marry again. In our case, our Sarala didn't wait 3 months. Otherwise we wouldn't have so many Mishnayos, on a Sunday, rainy Sunday afternoon, you need what to do. So what happened was our Sarala got married, she was hot the track, and she got married a month later, or 2 months later. So here, Reuven was married to Sarah, Reuven died, and Sarah didn't wait, and she married Chatzkel. So Venices, and she got married, Violda, and right away, after 7 months, she had a baby. and we're not sure if it's a 7-month baby from her second husband, Chatzkel, or a 9-month baby from her first husband, Reuven. Ve'en yadua in ben Tisha l'Rishon, and we don't know if it's a 9-month baby from Reuven, her first husband, in ben Shiva l'Achron, or a 7th-month baby from her second husband, Chatzkel. Okay, now, Hayu labanim min Arishim ubanim min Hashem. She had children from Reuven, and she had children from Chatzkel. And the Suffolk child, who we'll call Suffolk, it's a nice name, Suffolk. Suffolk dies without children. Now Suffolk dies without children, so the brothers might be, it has to be Achim min ha'av. Both are Achim min ha'ein, but Yibam is only Achim min ha'av. So the Achim min ha'av might be Reuven's children, or the Achim min ha'av might be Chatzkel's children. Now remember, Eishes Ochiv Me'imai is an Issacharus. So in this case, both Reuven's son and Chatzkel's son, Choltzin v'loy miyabne. They could only do Chalitza and not Yibam. Why? Because maybe she's Reuven's son. If Chatzkel's son would be Miyabim, then Chatzkel is being Miyabim Eishes Ochiv Me'imai, which is an Issacharus. Right? On the other hand, it might be that it's Chatzkel's son, and then Reuven would be Miyabim Eishes Ach Me'imai. So therefore, they both give Chalitza and they can't do Yibam. Likewise, if let's say Reuven's definite son and Chatzkel's definite son dies, so the Chen Hu Lahem Chayletz, he could only do Chalitza v'lo Yibam Miyabim, because it might not be a brother from the father, it might be a brother from the mother. Oh, now let's say Reuven, this is an interesting case. Reuven had sons from a different wife, and Chatzkel had sons for a different wife. In this case, the Suffolk is either a brother from the father or nothing. Because they're not connected with the mother. They're not connected through Sarah. Because Reuven had a son from Dinah, and Chatzkel had a son from Shpinza. So if, for example, the Suffolk was really Reuven and Sarah's son, and this boy is Chatzkel's and Shpinza's, they're not related at all. So in this case, we see now it's a lot different. Let's see it inside. Hayoloi Achim min Arishin, if there were brothers from the first husband, Reuven, and min Hasheni, brothers from the second husband, Chatzkel, Shaloi me'Isa'im, not from Sarah. Reuven was married to Dinah, and Chatzkel was married to Shpinza, and had a boy. So then, if let's say Chatzkel and Shpinza's son died, so the Suffolk and died without children, the Suffolk, and there's no, and I have to add, and there's no other brothers except for him. No other brothers except for him. So then, in such a case, the Suffolk could do either. He could do Chalitza or Yibam. Why? Because if he's Taka Chatzkel's son, so then it's a brother from the father, and it's Yibam. If he's Reuven's son, they're not related at all. He's Reuven and Sarah, this is Chatzkel and Shpinza, there's no relation. So who chayleitz miyabin? But the Haim, let's say the Suffolk dies. So now, he dies without children. One of them has to do Chalitza or Yibam. We don't know which one. If the Suffolk is from a 9-month from Reuven, then Reuven and Dinah's son has to do Yibam. If he's a 7th month from Chatzkel, then Chatzkel and Shpinza's son has to do Yibam. Now, neither of them could do Yibam first, because maybe it's the other one that needs to give the Yibam, and then it would be So one of them has to give chalitza first. They to the suffocal's wife, echad chalitz. One side does chalitza, and once one side does chalitza, then ve'echad miyabim. Then the other side can do miyibam amanavshach. If he's really the brother, so that's yibam. If he's not the brother, well, the other one gave chalitza. Now she's free. He can marry her. Okay, that's a mouthful. We again want to remind you that those that are part of our 7:45 mincha, ma'ariv, don't even think of davening. Don't even think of davening. And the davening is probably puzzle. I mean, it's and Daniel reminds you anyway. If you have an opportunity to say Kriya Shema B'zman, why would you do it? I mean, so 8 o'clock is daf, and Chak will be about at 9, and Shachris tomorrow morning and throughout the week is 7:30. There's an opportunity abound. Everybody who likes to get an opportunity. We always had somebody that went around with the pushka. First it was our Svardi friend, what was his last name? Yanai. He used to go around with the pushka. And then Smulowitz went around with the pushka. And then when Berish was here, he went around with the pushka. What's happening now is nobody is going around with the pushka. The truth of the matter is I would go around with the pushka. It's a shtickle pasnish. Why do I say pasnish? I want to. But it looks a little self-serving. The rabbi is going around with his own shul's pushka. It doesn't have a good shmek. I really would want to, because it says Gadol Ma'asa Yosim and Ha'isa. You know, when I did, I don't know if the Olam remembers, but I used to be for many years the host of the Urathon. And I would be up till 4 in the morning. I would leave Staten Island. I couldn't do the first hour, but I would be on mamish from 11 to 4 in the morning. And then by the time I got home, and in those days I gave Daf Yomi by my Shachris at 8 o'clock, it was very hard. But I said to myself, how can I give it up? I'm being ma'asa people millions of dollars to tzedakah. Now this isn't millions of dollars, although you never know. You know, sometimes somebody puts in, $1 million check. You never know. But anybody, the schus is up for grabs.